Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome back to Model Behavior. It's Macy. Not to brag, but I have upgraded my equipment setup once again. I've been in the process of trying to figure out the best way to bring a guest on because I'm not going to get into the details of it, but basically, the way I was recording before, it only worked with one sound input. And so I was like, you know what? I need to A, get a new mic, and B, also figure out how to connect two mics to my recording source. So I've been in the process of doing that. I remember I was laughing about this because probably like a few weeks ago, I got a comment on one of my YouTube videos of the podcast asking me about an old episode that I had recorded last year sometime and deleted. Well, I didn't delete it. I made it unlisted because some of the content was a little bit suspect. But I sent her the link to the old episode, and it was funny because I was watching it, and it was like one of my first episodes that I put out, at least one of the first ones that had video. And just like the way that I talked back then compared to now was really different. Like I kind of hated watching myself because I was like obviously still trying to get used to like talking to the camera, and you could tell I was like really carefully choosing my words. Not that I don't now. Like I'm still cringe, okay, I get that. But it was kind of funny. And then I was listening to the episode and I was talking about recording audio and video separately at some point, and I was like, I didn't know that I could do that back in the day. And then I switched to not doing that because I figured out I could just connect things directly to my phone. Well, now I can't. So I actually got this whole sophisticated setup. Let me see if I can show you it. I got this audio box. These things are really expensive. If you're watching on video, these things are really expensive. I was not expecting these little audio boxes to be so expensive. If you get a new one online, it's like $200, and you can buy used ones, but they were looking pretty beat up. So I was watching Facebook Marketplace like a hawk, and I was able to find an audio box. I think it's called like an audio interface on Facebook Marketplace, and I bartered for it, and I met up with this random man in a parking lot. And I handed the cash over, and he handed me the audio box, and it was basically brand new, still in the box. He was really nice, and it was really painless, and now we're cooking. Like we got this full setup. So I'm excited about it. I told you guys probably like a year ago, I was like, I'm committed to making this a low budget production because I don't know how much I'm going to stick with it. Well, I've been sticking with it, girl. So I also upgraded my lighting setup, and I got a new mic, and I think we're like all set to go to have a guest on the pod. Maybe like my second episode that I ever recorded. I recorded it on some Bluetooth mics with my good friend Sigrid. That was like way back in the day. The sound quality wasn't as good as it is now, so no worries if you haven't heard that one. But I guess technically Sigrid would be my first guest on the pod. But now I'm set up to have like an official guest podcast setup, and I am so excited about it. It's been a second since I've recorded. I have just been feeling run very ragged lately, and you guys know, like I started working as a Lagree instructor as a second job back in October, and I love it. But lately I have been picking up a lot of classes because people have been out of town. And honestly, it's just been too much for me. Like I've been getting so burnt out. I haven't had any time to do things that I love. I only have 2 nights off a week. And during those 2 nights off a week, I have to use them to do like laundry and cleaning around the house and just like admin tasks, like little things like opening my mail, because on my regular days I'm getting home at like 7:30 p.m. I have an hour and a half before I have to go to bed because then I have to get up the next morning for a 6 a.m. workout class the next day, then go to my 9 to 5, then go back to the studio right after to teach. And it's just been like kind of a breakneck pace. And while I do enjoy the extra money, I have to remind myself that I do make money from social media and the podcast as well. And it's okay for me to want more margin there because I truly enjoy recording this podcast. And so that's something I kind of had like a little come to Jesus moment this morning, actually, when I was at the studio covering some classes, because this is the stuff that happens when you're like spread really thin too. And I try to do a really good job of like always bringing a positive attitude to the studio. And I do really enjoy seeing the clients. But after my last class this morning that I covered, I like these candles, like we all do, but we light these candles that are on like shelves in the studio just to kind of like set the mood for the class. And a girl had put her sweatshirt on top of one of the shelves for some reason, and it caught her sweatshirt. She put her sweatshirt on top of a candle partially, and her sweatshirt caught on fire. And I didn't notice because I was like in the middle of checking other clients out, talking to them, cleaning up the studio. And then I saw her like take her sweatshirt sleeve out of the candle and was like, she was like blowing on it to like try to get the flames out. And it was like, what the heck? And so like, it wasn't that big of a deal ultimately, but I was like, girl, that's my sign. I need to take a step back. So that's what I will be doing. I'm going to be on my regular teaching schedule, but I just decided I'm not going to pick up classes anymore. It's too much on top of my 9 to 5 and everything else I've been doing. And also, like, it's starting to get warm here and I'm trying to have like a good social life. Like, you know what I mean? It's just too much. So, oh, if my energy seems a little bit off, it's because we almost had a fire at the studio. No, I'm just kidding. We did almost have a fire at the studio this morning, but I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys before I head off to the university, till I head on. That sounds so pretentious. I wanted to talk to you guys before I head off to my real job, as I like to call it, at CSU. So I have really been into watching those tinned fish videos on TikTok. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this company called Fishwife. Apparently they were on Shark Tank. This company Fishwife makes tinned fish. So it's just like sardines in a tin, salmon in a tin, tuna in a tin, that kind of thing. And tinned fish is not like a new thing, but they tried to make it more boutique-y, more curated. So it has like the packaging has really nice artwork on it. The fish is like in tomato sauce or like really good olive oil with spices and that kind of thing. And so there's this girl on TikTok named Tony Bravo, and she makes these tinned fish videos where she like spices up her tinned fish. So she'll like put it on a cracker with like spices and pepperoni and pickled onion and the fish itself and some hot sauce and a little bit of hot honey. She really dresses it up. And it reminds me a lot of Emily Mariko's salmon bowl videos from during the pandemic, which if you're not chronically online like I am, then you probably wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But I've been really into watching those videos lately. And in one of her videos today, she was talking about how it's important she was eating tin fish, by the way, but Tony Bravo was talking about how it's important to make your content follow your life, not the other way around. And she was like, my content is a lot better when I'm already doing something and I just sit down and record it rather than sitting down to record and thinking, okay, what am I going to talk about today? I have to think of something. And so my motivation for recording today, even though I don't have like a set specific topic I want to talk about, I have stuff I want to talk about. Okay, girl. But normally like I research the episodes really well. I want to make sure I have all my stats. I want to make sure I have a good outline. But the issue is that my days have been so long that when I come home, I don't necessarily feel like I'm in a super chatty mood like I normally am. So we're going to fix that by building in some margin into our life. But also, I think I just need to let my content follow my life rather than the other way around. So the past couple of months, I have really been struggling confidence-wise, and this is not something that happens to me very often anymore. I would say the last time I went through a slump like this was probably a little more than a couple years ago. Like, it's been a really long time since I've had a slump like this, and I usually, like, the couple of days before my period, I will feel like this. I'll feel kind of just like a potato, like, oh my gosh, I feel so gross, I don't feel cute. But this slump has lasted for the last couple of months, and I know exactly when it started. I got booked for a modeling job for this underwear company. They're like a lingerie slash swim, not lingerie. It's like boy shorts, okay? It's like nothing too sexy or crazy, but like they make underwear and then they also make swimwear. And so I went in to shoot some e-com for them. At the time I was feeling really, really good. Like, I don't know, I eat healthy and I live a really active lifestyle and I do my best to try to take care of my body. And so I was feeling pretty confident, but this was my first time getting booked for a company like this, like a shoot like this, because you guys know I used to be in the curve division. And since I lost some weight, I got switched over to the commercial category for my agency. And so I've been getting booked for a lot of different types of jobs. And I have really been enjoying it because it is kind of like more mainstream modeling. I'm getting booked with more mainstream brands, things like that. But with this shoot, I felt good taking the pictures. I was like, you know what, it'll be fine. But I walked onto set and they were like, oh, we only have sample sizes small and extra small. Sorry, hopefully one of those fits. And I was like, okay, well, you booked me. You saw on my card that I'm a size 6. A size 6 could be a small depending on your sizing, but usually I'm a medium, especially for things that fit tight around the waist. Any girl knows like a medium is usually the best bet if there's not a lot of give in the fabric. So they put me in a size small for this underwear, and it was the waistband. You know what I'm talking about. It's like a double seam waistband, really tight. And it just ended up not looking the best. So I was trying to like hike them up like over my hips, like so it could be a little cutie that way, because it looked fine. It just didn't look like A1 like body T in that moment, because I'm a medium, like I'm not a small. And so yeah, I had a hard time with that mentally. I was like, you know what? I just need to like put my mind past this. Like I just need to go to that place that I go during photo shoots where I feel totally confident and nothing else matters, because I have this like mental space that I go to where I don't dissociate, but I just like lock in is the best way to describe it. So I did that, but I knew that like the shots weren't going to be the best, and I could tell the photographer and the creative director wasn't necessarily loving the way the clothes looked on me. And I was frustrated because I'm like, the size, you booked me knowing that I'm this size. So like you should have my size when you come. If you book me as the model, you should have my size on set, like knowing that I'm the size that I am. Like, don't act frustrated when you book me and then are surprised that I'm not a size 2, And so then the photos came out this was like a couple months ago at this point. And they did not look great. Like, they're on the website. I was pretty devastated with the way they looked. I was really frustrated. I was in tears. I'm not gonna lie. I was at work. I saw them and I was just like, those just don't look good. Like, I just felt like I looked sloppy, especially compared to all the other models that they had on the site. I was by far the biggest girl that they had on the site. The rest of the girls that they had were like a size 0 or a size 2. And I was really confused, first of all, with the imposter syndrome of like, why would they book me knowing that I'm a 6, which again, a size 6, I don't think I said this before, but a size 6 is not big. And I know it's not. And I've worked really hard for the body that I'm in. Like, I worked very hard for the body that I'm in. So I'm proud of it. But just seeing those pictures really did something to me mentally. And I've been struggling since then. I'm not going to lie. I've just been really struggling confidence wise. And then also, great timing, my skin decided to break out like crazy. And I was just like, whoa, what is happening? Like, it was such a random switch because like nothing changed with my diet, nothing changed with my exercise routine. But all of a sudden I'm breaking out. I'm super bloated. I'm not feeling good about myself. And so the best that I can do right now is just to limit my stress. And I think I just need to build more margin in my life, not take on teaching as many classes. Like I said, I know I appreciate, I don't even know if I always say, like I said, and I'm like, actually, I don't know if I've said this yet. I really like the extra money, but I just don't think it's worth it. Also, I'm moving at the end of June, hopefully. I still don't know where I'm moving to, which is stressful, but I put in my 60 days notice at this apartment, and I love this apartment. You guys know I love this apartment. I love the space. I love keeping it super tidy. It's really quiet. It's in a super safe neighborhood. I love it. But along the same topic of having margin, building margin in my life, I realized that I need to downsize a little bit to save some money. And then if I downsize a bit to save some money on rent, I'm not going to feel as obligated to pick up as many shifts at the studio. And so in doing that, I will then have more time to put into my hobbies, to put into my social media, to spend time with friends, to even, crazy thought, maybe go on a date or two. So yeah, that's all happening this summer. Also, my brother's getting married, and I haven't told you guys that yet. It's not the brother that went viral last year. That's my youngest brother. I have 2 brothers. My other brother is 2 years younger than me. So it's the one that's closer in age to me. He is getting married. I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, and he was just like, yeah, your life is like a soap opera. Like, that has been quite a lot. So during that period of time this summer, I am moving, then I'm going back home for the wedding, then I am prepping for my summer course up in Glacier National Park, then I'm going up to Glacier teaching my class, and then coming back down here, and then the semester starts. So like my month of July is going to be crazy, crazy hectic, just between moving and the wedding and the class and everything. It's going to be a lot. And so I'm trying to gear up for that. I'm just praying that like the right apartment comes along and it's the right situation and all of those things. My contract is up at the university in about a year. I'm up in July 2027. So I've also been actively looking and applying for new jobs. And so I actually have a meeting with my boss in about an hour here where we're going to talk a little bit more about what the next year looks like for me work wise. But that's also been kind of stressful because the university has been undergoing another round of layoffs because of the budget cuts. Like I think CSU got their budget cut. Well, the state got their budget cut by $50 million, which directly affects the public universities. And so I think maybe our department, there was like a pretty significant layoff that happened last week, like a pretty significant layoff. And I originally thought I was going to be included in that. So I was really unsure if I was going to keep my job. And then by the end of last week, I knew that I was keeping my job. So I was like, okay, that's sick. Yay. So yeah, just like a lot of life changes happening right now. And I'm sorry if like my mood seems a little bit mellow, but I've really just been trying to listen to what Tony Bravo said about letting your content follow your life and not the other way around. And I just want to be honest about where I'm at right now. I usually travel quite a bit every year in January and February, which I did this year. I feel like every year since I've been in grad school, I've had the opportunity to travel during the winter, which is pretty essential to my mental health because I've always lived in really cold environments. This year, winter in Colorado was basically non-existent. It was very bizarre, but I still got to do some good traveling. So then by the time March and April roll around and all of that travel's kind of done, I have a little bit of a letdown because I love traveling and I love visiting my friends and all of those things. And so when I come back from that kind of wave of travel, normally the weather is starting to get nice, so that definitely helps. But I'm kind of in that readjustment phase right now where I had a ton going on and now I've just been working a lot. And again, don't get me wrong, I love making money, but it's been tough. I've been thinking of ways that I can help myself feel better, particularly in the confidence department, because like I told you guys, I have not had a slump like this for probably over 2 years now. I feel like when I go through a confidence slump, I usually just slap a fake tan on or get my hair done or get a facial and my skin clears up and everything's good. And that just hasn't been the case the past couple of months. So I have been really working to figure out ways that I can lift my confidence. Now you might be like, Macy, maybe you're just depressed. I am acutely aware of my mental health at all times. And I want you guys to know that I do actively go to therapy. So I know that it's not that. That's just all I'm going to say there. I know it's not that. I do a good job of managing my mental health in that aspect, but it's more just, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of other things that I can do. Now, I will say I have been implementing my scary hour routine, which is something that I do. I used to do a lot, and I started doing it during the pandemic when I was spending a lot of time at home. Scary hour is where you take 1 hour, you set a timer for 1 hour, and you get as much done around the house as you can in that 1 hour. Now, does that take quite a bit of energy and motivation? Yes. But I had my first weekend day at home this weekend in months. And so I was like, I'm not squandering this opportunity to have a scary hour because my apartment needed it. And 45 minutes in, my apartment was basically spotless. Like I had cleaned both bathrooms. I had put all of my junk away that needed to be put away. I had taken the trash out. I had vacuumed, I dusted, and I'd also like rearranged my fridge, gotten rid of expired things. And it was just like, wow, I got so much done in my scary hour. And I will say that did help my confidence quite a bit. Like my mind feels so much better after that. So I think like reinstating scary hour is going to be an essential thing moving forward, and I think building time for that is going to be really important. That being said, it is the end of hockey season, so the Eagles and the Avs are both in playoffs right now, which is really exciting. So I have been going to some games. Big deal. If you follow me on TikTok, you would have seen my vlog. I got to ride the Zamboni at the last game of the season at Blue Arena, which is where the Eagles play. And it was a bucket list item for me. It was way more fun than I have always wanted to ride the Zamboni, but honestly, it was like a way more fun experience than I thought it was going to be. I was like really nervous at first. I'm like, everybody's going to be staring at me because remember, I'm in my 2-month slump of not having confidence. Normal me would not be worried about that. But for some reason, sad me is scared about that. And so like I was really nervous about it at first, but I got to ride with the lady Zamboni driver. Her name is Barb. There's a guy Zamboni driver and a lady Zamboni driver. And I got assigned the lady Zamboni driver and I was so excited. And she taught me all about the Zamboni and what all the different knobs do. And like, I didn't get to drive the Zamboni. Obviously, you have to be licensed and it's not that easy. Like there's a lot that needs to happen. But she was so cool. And once I got out on the ice, I was just waving to everybody and pointing at the crowd and just, it was so silly and fun. And I loved it. It was so fun. So shout out to my friend Jess. Thank you so much for making that happen. I was begging her all season to get on the Zamboni, but there's like a waiting list for those kinds of things. And usually priority goes to season ticket holders and children. And so just my luck, somebody that was supposed to ride the Zamboni that day dropped out. And so there was a spot available and I took that spot, girl. So I was on that Zamboni and I was so happy to do it. So bucket list item achieved, riding the Zamboni. It was awesome. It was everything I could have dreamed of and more. It was the best. So yeah, that was awesome. Both hockey teams are playing decent right now. The Eagles definitely have upped their game since the regular season. We weren't really sure how it was going to go postseason, but they've been playing pretty well. So they start their new series this week. They're in Vegas for 2 games, and then they come home this weekend for some more games. It's a best 3 out of 5. And then the Avs, all of their games are best of 7. And so they just finished their first series against the Kings. They swept them 4-0. And now they have, I think, maybe 5 days off, maybe more, because they're waiting for the Dallas Stars and Minnesota Wild series to finish. And the Wild and the Stars are currently tied 2 apiece. So this could go to 7. That could go all the way. And I know Avs fans are really hoping that whoever wins that series gets taken the full mile and has to win best of 7 because that's exhausting. And that would give the Avs some time to rest, some much needed rest before the next series. So I know everybody's really looking forward to that, but I'm selfishly kind of hoping that the Wild win so that I can see them play. They came to Denver to play a couple times, but I didn't go to either of those games. So I hope that we can see the Wild play because I like the guys on the Wild better than on the Stars. I just think it would be more fun to watch. So we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. I just think that if any of you have any glow up tips, I would be sorry if you can hear that. My heat just kicked on. If any of you have any glow up tips, I would be grateful for any tips you can provide. I also have a tennis league match later today, which it was like, this was supposed to be my off day. So I'm like, but I just have to get through it. I only have to play 2 league matches this year, and I think I might take a break from tennis next year. This is the second year in a row that I've been feeling kind of burnt out on tennis. I played a ton when I first moved here, like a ton, and then I moved up a league, which was really exciting because the level of play got a lot higher. So the matches that I do play are a lot more enjoyable. But there's just less opportunities to play now because there's less people that are at your level that can play. And I play USTA League. I don't know if I've ever really talked to you guys about this too much, but I grew up playing tennis. I got recruited to play tennis in college. I played basketball instead. And so then when I went to grad school, I got back into playing tennis. I joined the Wyoming club tennis team. It was a really competitive team. We traveled all over the country playing tournaments. It was really, really fun. And then when I moved down to Colorado and started work here, I joined a USTA league. So then I was playing a league. You have to have a rating, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, so then I won enough matches my first year that I got bumped up a level. And then the past 2 years I've been playing at the next higher level, which is, like I said, really fun, but not as many people to play against. So it's been a little tricky finding teams. Yeah, because I feel like the first year that I lived here, I loved my team and I loved my partner that I got to play with, which is so important. So I loved my partner that I got to play with. I had a partner that I played with all the time. We would enter tournaments together in the off season, all of those things. And now I kind of just get paired with whoever. It's because I have like a decently tolerant personality when it comes, like I know that I get sassy on here, but I will say like as a competitor, I am pretty mentally tough in a lot of situations and I don't let a lot get to me. But yeah, because of that, like I'm not loving the team that I'm on this year, and I think I might switch teams or just take a break and not play. I can't tell if it's just the team I'm on or if I'm like not digging tennis as much as I used to. I have, however, been digging golf lately. Again, we're back, baby. The weather's getting nicer. I went to a golf lesson with Kate the other weekend down in Louisville. It was at a bar in Louisville called Birdie Bar, and they have a couple golf sims there. And so there was a local golf pro, and she like gave us a lesson, and it was a really good refresher for me because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have not swung a golf club since like November. So it was a little rough for me, but I feel like we shook a little bit of the dust off, and I'm looking forward to golfing some more in the coming weeks with this free time that I'm going to build out for myself. So with that, that's all I have for you guys this week. Thank you for listening to my update. I want to know if you guys have struggled confidence-wise, and if there's little things that you can do, whether it's like a fake tan or a certain makeup look, or just something like a scary hour like I was talking about where I'm cleaning up around my house. If there's something that you do to help pull you out of a slump like this, because I am literally taking any and all suggestions. I'm really struggling. And like I said, this hasn't happened to me in quite some time. So I want to know if you guys have any practical tips for pulling yourself out of a slump, because that's where I'm at right now. And I don't want to be here. I want to get back to normal Macy, not this sad Macy. Anyways, I hope you guys have a really good rest of your day and really good rest of your week. And I can't wait to talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye.